This is my Nintendo Switch 2, and this is my Nintendo Switch. Get out of here, you're making my Switch look bad. But have you ever wondered what it would be like to play Switch 2 games on a downgraded 720p display, worse specs, and less comfortable Joy-Cons?
What?
Yup, me too. And that's why today, I'm going to turn my Nintendo Switch into a Nintendo Switch 2. Will I be able to replicate the newest Switch 2 features on my boring old Switch? And most importantly, be able to play Switch 2 games? Well, there's only one way to find out. So let's get started. Starting off, let's define what turning my Switch into a Switch 2 means. Now, because the Switch 2 can't run Homebrew apps yet, and I don't know how to do hardware modifications, this will be done using Switch 1 Homebrew apps and my computer. So if you were expecting some crazy hardware upgrades to let my Switch play Switch 2 games, feel free to click off, because I don't want anyone to feel misled by the title. But to answer the question, I want to make my Switch feel like a Switch 2. This includes having the Switch 2 home menu, magnetic Joy-Cons, a bigger kickstand, and the ability to play Switch 2 games. So let's get these done in order and slowly watch my Switch transform into a Switch 2. Leave a like and subscribe if you want a free Switch 2. Continue. Because my Switch is running Atmosphere custom firmware, I have an app called NX Themes Installer, which lets me run custom themes on my Switch. With this, I can go to themeser.net, which has a bunch of downloadable themes, and search for a Switch 2 theme. Surely one will exist. Oh, I guess I gotta make one myself. I swear this has happened to me before. To make a theme, I downloaded the theme creator tool from this GitHub and got to work. All right, guys, so I want this theme to look as close to the Switch 2 theme as possible, so I'm going to try my very best. So we're going to start off with that rounded rectangle. So let's just stretch that across. It doesn't take up the whole entire screen, but it takes up a good amount. I'm not sure how low it is. I think a round tier is good though. And this rectangle is a little rounded, so let's round off the edges. I'm not sure how rounded it is, but it's pretty round, so let's go like right here. I think that's good. So there we go. We have step 1 of the Switch 2 theme done. Now I think we're done. Yeah, I think this is perfect. So let's put this in NX Themes Installer. So I'm going to open NX Themes Installer, install my theme, reboot Atmosphere, and now it's the moment of truth. Will my theme work, and what will it look like? All right, moment of truth. Let's see what my Switch 2 theme looks like. Here we go. I just gotta press A 3 times, and then we'll see my masterpiece. Oh, okay, so that rectangle is way too low. But you know what? It actually seems like it's a pretty good size. So I think we nailed the width and the length of this rectangle. I just have to move it up a little bit, and I would do that, but you know what? It not looking perfect is what makes my console look special. Now that I created the Switch 2 theme, I was one step closer to turning my Switch into a Nintendo Switch 2. Next on the list is having the Switch 2's magnetic Joy-Cons, and I have the perfect idea for this. I'm not laughing, guys. There's just something in my throat. When I was planning this video, my first idea for making magnetic Joy-Cons was to use double-sided tape on the Joy-Con rails to simulate being magnetic, but that would be cheating. So here's what I did instead. I bought some magnetic tape. The sticky side goes on the Joy-Cons and Joy-Con rails, and the visible sides are magnetic, allowing me to attach my Joy-Cons to the Joy-Con rail. I'm not sure how strong the magnets are though, so let's find out together. Please be strong enough. Okay, guys, which Joy-Con should we try first? Left or right? Comment down below. You guys said left? All right, sounds good. We have the magnet on the Joy-Con rail and the magnet on the Joy-Con itself. So if I put these two together, they should attach. Here we go. Wait a minute, run that back, run that back, run that back. That actually sounds pretty good. It's definitely not as strong or as satisfying as the Switch 2, but it's holding up pretty well. I'm going to try to hold it only using the Joy-Con, but let's put the right one on first. There we go. This looks, okay, we're not gonna talk about how it looks, but it seems like it would be sturdy. So now is the ultimate test. Can I hold up the Switch only holding the Joy-Cons? Here we go. Okay, so with my hands on the back, nothing falls down, but let's just try only... Yeah, no, that is not gonna work. Okay, but there we go, guys. We now have magnetic Joy-Cons on my Nintendo Switch 2. Let's go. All right, so now we have a Switch 2 theme and magnetic Joy-Cons. This is basically already a Switch 2, but there's still a few more things we have to get done. So how am I going to make a bigger kickstand? The kickstand on the Switch 2 looks like this, while the one on the Switch is this tiny little rectangle. And if I'm going to do this without drilling 2 holes in my Switch, I'm not sure how it will be possible, but I think I have an idea. You see this kickstand shaped piece of cardboard over here? What if I just Perfect. You know what? It kind of works. I just need to make sure I don't bump into the console while using it. But now that that was finished, it was time to implement the very last and most important feature, being able to play Switch 2 games. As I mentioned in the intro, I'm not doing any hardware upgrades to make my Switch be able to play Switch 2 games. I don't think that would be possible anyway. So to add this feature, I'm going to use game streaming instead. On a modded Switch, you can install an app called Moonlight, which allows you to stream your computer to your Switch. If you've watched my videos before, you already know what this app is. But for you new people, here's a quick explanation. Moonlight runs on your Switch, and an app called Sunshine runs on your computer. And these two softwares basically turn your Switch into a PlayStation portal, I guess. So not only does your computer stream video to your Switch, but your Switch also turns into a controller for your computer. If you want to know how to set this up for yourself, you can click the video in the top right. Now, all of this is great, but how is it going to let me stream my Switch 2 to my Switch? Well, that's where the next part comes in. Using my capture card, which is an Elgato 4K-X, you'll see why the type is important later. I can display my Switch 2 screen on my computer in OBS. And because the Elgato 4K-X has such low preview delay, the preview window in OBS is almost as fast as if I were looking at the Switch 2 screen directly from an HDMI output. This means I can full screen the preview window in OBS and stream it to my Switch, making it appear as if I were running a Switch 2 game on my Switch. For the controller support, I can't use the built-in Moonlight controller because the Switch 2 doesn't have Homebrew software, but because my Switch 1 Joy-Cons work on the Switch 2, I can just connect them to my Switch 2 after loading Moonlight. But all this yapping is meaningless if it doesn't actually work, so let's see if it does. Wait a minute, I have no idea how this got on my screen, but I really like what it says. I think you guys should consider doing it. So the Switch 2 is docked, so now let's open OBS. You guys can't see my screen right now, so I guess just look at this left Joy-Con and like comment how Joy-Con-ish it looks. Yeah, it's blue. Okay, OBS, can you hurry up and open, please? Okay, there we go, it's open. And now I'm going to switch my screen to Switch, put this into full screen. You still can't see this, but I'm doing it, trust. And now, if I bring my Switch back over here and put my magnetic Joy-Cons on, the most important step, we now have our Switch 2 screen showing on our Switch. Yes, our Switch. But the most important part is if the controls work. So let's see, I'm gonna press B, here we go. And of course they do. So there we go. We now have our Switch 2 being displayed on my Nintendo Switch. Let's go. It worked. And that meant I had everything on my checklist complete. So now I present to you my Walmart budget Temu edition scam Switch 2. Well, there you have it. My Nintendo Switch is now a fully functioning Switch 2. But just for good measure, content. Bye.